2024 Annual General Meeting. So, as you just saw, we just did a microphone check. That's wonderful. Hopefully, before coming to the meeting, you've all had a chance to read the rules of conduct for the meeting today. What we will do is please use the chat function to ask any questions at the appropriate time or voice opposition to a motion. There's no requirement to vote in favor. We're using a consensus meeting style here, so you only need to use your chat to make or second a motion, or if you're opposed to a motion. Questions and comments with regards to the meeting may also be emailed to our secretariat, who's also on here. She'll also be responding in the coming days. Thanks also to Brad, who's going to be our moderator today, and will be monitoring the chat as we go along. If we don't get to your questions, please know we are committed to responding to all of them in time. So if they don't get answered today, we will reach out and respond, though. So again, part of it is we are going to get everyone to turn off their cameras unless they are actually presenting at this time, and also turn off the microphones unless you are the person doing the presenting at the moment. Brad has dropped into the chat here both the rules of conduct for today and also a link to the agenda. So hopefully everyone has an opportunity to review the agenda here. Can I get we're going to just take a quick moment for everyone to be able to open that up and take a look. We're not going to take a long time to do it, but if we could just take a quick moment, that would be wonderful. And once we do that, could we take a motion to actually, sorry, we'll go back to the slide. We will go back one, Leah, sorry. Thank you. So today, as I said, we're going to be using the chat function. Also, quick note here, only active members, ROHs and ROHTs, are entitled to be submitting questions and vote at the meeting. The consensus will be, decision-making will be used. If we have any technical malfunctions, I may adjourn, recess, or expedite the meeting here. We're going to be recording this meeting in the event someone has technical difficulties or is unable to join. The first hour of this meeting will be recorded and available afterwards. The second hour, which will be our presentation by our guest speaker, will not be available. So be sure to stick around for that and watch it. It'll be an interesting session. So next slide, Leah. Thank you. So here's today's agenda. So if you can give this a quick look over, and we will take a look and approve it. If there are, give you an opportunity to review it quickly here. And we have already had a motion to accept the agenda. Thank you very much. So we've had one and we've had a second. That makes life easy. And are there any opposed? So all in favor, no opposed. We carry it. Thank you very much. Oh, Monica. So I saw your hand up. I presume these hands are ones for approval or for comments. Again, if there are comments, drop them into the chat, and we will address those. So the next one we have here is our motion to approve the 2023 minutes. So these are the minutes from the previous year's AGM. So motion to approve the minutes which were sent out previously. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes by someone who was in attendance at the previous AGM? And we have a motion to approve. Thank you. And I also see a second. So I see Alex has motioned to approve and Sarah has also motioned to approve. So I'll count that as a second. Lucy also has. So any opposed? Seeing nothing in the chat there saying that anyone is opposed, we're going to say that it's carried. Thank you very much. So our next slide here is the president's report. And yes, Brad, thank you for pointing that out. Reminder to everyone that your mics are disabled and only chat can be used for any opposition to these things. So first thing we're going to do, as president, I get to welcome our new registrar. We thank Helen Mercero, who's worked diligently as our registrar during her time here. We're also welcoming a new one. We're welcoming Altera Hildebrand. She's an ROH from Ontario, and she has been helping us with our various work with registrations and exams and such, and she's been doing a stellar job, and we thank you very much. Helen was kind enough to be able to help transition her over, and so we thank both Helen for her hard work that she has given us and Natara for taking on this role. And next. So as you can see here, this is my wonderful board, which I cannot thank enough for the hard work that this group has done over the past year. This board of directors has been instrumental in getting some key things done this year. A lot of them you're going to be hearing about today. These folks have been just incredible to work with. If you have an opportunity to work with them, I highly support of that. Sadly, we're going to be losing a few, which we'll be talking about in a minute. Next slide. So one of the things our group did this year was we actually had our face-to-face, which was wonderful. As a group, we get together and we are able to work in person on projects. This year, we met again in 2023 in the fall, in October in Calgary. We did some planning there. We met with strategic partner ASHSP. We had a meet and greet, and I was able to meet with quite a few of you out there, and it was a wonderful time. And we worked on some good projects as a group. Next slide. Some of the things we've worked on have included things such as modernizing our exam process. Now we have the entire ROH and ROHT written exam online. That's the written exam. And just Friday, I signed a memorandum of understanding document with the BCRSP. They have announced that, and we have also shared that on our social media. So there are details about that to come. But basically, it's a great transition process, or a cross-membership process, which we'll get into a bit more. We also updated scope of practice document. We developed and revised competencies, roles, and responsibilities, and written procedures for all of what we do in the organization. Our documentation needed some updating, and that board that you saw, we worked hard at getting some of these things done. We also developed a new travel policy for volunteer and staff. These are all key things that we've been able to work on, and again, couldn't have done it without this board. Next slide. So as you can see, we actually have done a lot in the past year. We also are going to have some more things that we're going to be doing. CBROH has bid actually to host the 2027 Iowa Scientific Conference in Montreal. You'll be hearing a little bit more about that shortly here. We also have a new project proposed, which you'll also be hearing about, a CSA standard on industrial hygiene working practice. We're working on improving and modernizing our examination processes. We are finalizing competencies, roles, and responsibilities and written procedures. And we're reviewing the vision and mission statements for the organization. So as you can see, The past year, we've done a lot, and we've got a lot more ahead. And I am proud to be a member of this organization where we are able to push these agendas forward. Next slide. So, tell you a bit more about what's been going on and some things that are going to be going on. We have Alex Mercer. So, Alex, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. So a little bit about what I worked on this year in the VP role. As Matthew alluded to, we did a big overhaul of many of our policies and procedures. A big push was to align with the ISO 17024 standard, and we had many members of our board work very diligently on this. We updated our appeal forms. We developed competencies for all of the roles currently within our organization. We updated the terms of reference for the Special Projects Committee, which has been very busy this year and with some exciting work, which we'll talk about in some subsequent slides. And we revised terms of reference for a variety of our different subcommittees. So the Future of the Profession Committee, also doing some awesome, very exciting work this year. The Registration, Maintenance, and Points Committee, the Examination Committee, and then the Bylaws, Policies, and Procedures Committee. All of these committees were revised in terms of those terms of reference, and we're now moving into the next year stronger with better policies and procedures and more clear competencies for everyone on the board. Next slide, Leah. I'll pass it on to our treasurer, Kevin.
Good morning, everybody. For those that don't know me, sorry, my name is Kevin Schmidt. I'm an ROH director from Ontario, and I'm also the CRBOH treasurer. Next slide, Leah. So just some highlights from 2023. So that the board did develop and approve a 5-year financial plan based on some of our upcoming priorities. Revenue for the board has been relatively consistent. We've seen the revenue for new candidates challenging the exam has offset a slight decrease in revenue from members who are retiring. And ultimately, those new members we expect to add to our dues revenue in the future. We've continued our recent trend to increase the total assets of the board over the last 3 years. And then moving forward, the 5-year plan has included some investment in some of the board's priorities. Next slide, Leah. So just as for the statement of financials, sorry, you can see our trend in assets increasing over the last 3 years. Our liabilities have remained relatively consistent over the last 3 years. And then finally, you can see our increase in total assets for the last 3 years. Next slide, Leah. Again, here you can see our revenue trend. Exam fees have gone up while membership dues have gone down. And as I mentioned, the exam fees have gone up. Next slide, Leah. This is the statement from our independent auditors report. The full report's available to any board member that wants to review it by contacting the board secretary. The board has reviewed and approved the auditor's report. Does anybody have any questions about the auditor's report? If not, if there's no questions, I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 auditor's report. Or sorry, can I get a motion to approve? Leah, I can't make the motion to accept, can I?
No, but I do see Lucy has seconded Alex's
Perfect.
motion, and Lucy is seconded. So
Perfect.
we do have the motions.
I got out of order there. Anyone opposed to accepting the auditor's report? Okay, hearing none. All are in favor, no one's opposed. The motion is carried. Thank you very much. And then finally, could I get a motion to appoint Scarrow and Donald for the auditor for 2024? Thanks, Paul. Can I get a seconder, please?
We have several seconds in there, so.
Perfect. Excellent. Anyone opposed? Okay, hearing no opposition, all are in favor. No one's opposed. The motion's carried. Thank you. I now turn it over to our our register.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm excited to be the new registrar in this new role. The board's been really welcoming and nice to work with, and Leah has been a godsend supporting me through the learning curve. So really appreciate all of you and the opportunities. So just going through a little bit of our membership. So for the past 10 years, about in 2019, we saw about a 10% dip, so that kind of aligns with COVID. And then since then, we've been holding steady at around 315 members for the past 5 years. And those don't seem to be declining anymore. They are staying status quo, so that's good news. Next slide. A little bit of a map for the ROHs and for the ROHTs on the next one. We have good representation across Canada, with almost half of our membership being in Ontario, and then BC, Alberta, and Quebec making up the majority of the rest. However, we have some good representation for the profession across the Maritimes and the Prairies, and internationally as well. We have a total of 205 ROHs in our 245 ROHs in our membership as of the end of last year. Going to the ROHT map of Canada, quite similar. We're spread out well across the country, a little bit different. Most of our ROHTs, or just over half of them, are in Alberta, with a chunk in Ontario and BC. And then again, we have a little bit of representation in the Maritimes and Manitoba and internationally as well. We have a total of 69 ROHTs at the end of last year. A quick highlight on the types of exams and kind of our average pass rates. The numbers aren't really exact because we have people attempting multiple times from various tracks, but it does give a decent idea of how people are generally doing when they're challenging the exams. So for the ROHs, you're probably all aware there are 3 pathways. So the classic pathway of writing the multiple choice essay and then challenging the oral has a pass rate of 50%. The fast track approach, where you write the multiple choice exam after completing your master's, but before you've gained the experience required to become the ROH, has a pass rate of 65%. And then the second portion of that fast track with the essay and oral exam has a pass rate of 80%. And then the NAR challenge of just challenging the oral has a pass rate of 67%. We had a large number of NARs when it was first brought in, and now we have a few each year that challenge that exam. For the ROHT, there's one path, the written multiple choice and the essay exam, and the pass rate for that exam is 64%. I think if we keep having the armed forces candidates that challenged it this year, we might see that pass rate go up, as they did really well. And then for my final 3 slides, I'm just going to apologize in advance if I mispronounce anyone's names. I'm going to do my best, but we had 8 new ROHs join us in 2023. So welcome, Bufford, Michael, Phoebe, Stephen, Charlotte, Emily, David, and Michael. And we already have 8 new ROHs this year, though a number of these ROHs wrote their exams in the fall, and there was just a little carryover into 2024. So it skews our stats a little bit from that perspective, but welcome Sophia, Monica, Melanie, Brian, Brad, Michael, Scott, and Sebastian. And so similarly for our new ROHT members this year, we had 8 ROHTs last year as well. So welcome Melissa, Devin, Catherine, Erica, Curtis, Abdullah Malabari, Mohammed, and Abdullah Kashkari. And then we already have 7 ROHTs this year. So Sheila, Carmen, Daniel, Mathieu, Natasha, Christine, and Frank, welcome. And particularly 6 of those who came from the Armed Forces special exam, which we ran earlier this year. And my final slide is to say congratulations and best wishes to those who are retiring from the profession. We will miss you and wish you well in your retirement. Gerald, Gian, John, Lisa, Liz, Nazrin, and Tina. And that's all for me.
Well, Tara, there was a question in the chat. What's the percentage of candidates that challenge each of the methods?
The percentage of candidates that challenge. I'd say I don't have the exact percentage. The bulk are ROHs. And then probably I would guess about 25% of each of the fast tracks. And then probably just about 5% for NARS.
Perfect.
But those are very approximate.
Oh, thank you.
And I pass it over to Joey.
Hello, thank you very much. My name is Joey Bellino, and I'm one of the ROH directors in Central and Western provinces. And this is my first year on the board, actually, this past year. It's been quite an exciting year. Near the end of 2023, we put a call out for interest in becoming a member of the Future of the Profession Committee. And in February of this year, we held our first meeting. Our committee is maybe small, but we are mighty. And I certainly look forward to working with this group and doing some wonderful things. Some of the highlights I'd like to go through just quickly. Last year, we published our position paper. In doing so, we shared with board members and industry partners. And I believe it's done what it was intended to do and created a lot of conversation. We received a lot of feedback and questions. And as a result, we created an FAQ page, which is attached to the document and can be viewed on the CRBOH website. As mentioned, we formed the new committee. In doing so, we revised our terms of reference. And we're currently revising the title, scope presentations. We're looking forward to getting into the communities in each of the regions and doing some profession promoting. We've developed partnerships, actually, also. I'm not going to get into too much detail here because part of it's been we've talked about earlier, and we will be doing so a little bit further in the presentations. But we've created and maintained partnerships with Alberta Society of Health and Safety Professionals, the Board of Canadian Registered Safety Professionals, Canadian Canadian Standards Association. So what's up next? We're looking at exploring options for committee members to make presentations in schools and conferences in our different regions across Canada. We're going to continue discussions with stakeholders and key partners in the industry. Looking forward to that. Next slide, please. So I'd like to recognize our volunteers. Life and work certainly keep us busy and often makes it a challenge to make the time and effort needed. But we have, like I had mentioned, a smaller group, but really appreciate the time that we're putting in together and look forward to working with you. Beth Higgins, Mike Adamchuk, and Sarah McCurdy. So your work is much appreciated. And again, can't say any much more than looking forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, Joey. So next up, we have the external affairs report. Actually, for this part, even though I'm part of it, first part here, I'm going to actually have Suzanne give a quick update.
Sure thing. So during the 2024 scientific conference in Dublin that just took place last week, we were privileged enough to be able to submit and present our bid to host the Iowa 2027 conference. We chose Montreal as the city of choice. Our competition was Brisbane, Australia, and Taipei, Taiwan. And the respective boards now are just going back to their boards, and they have till the end of June, early July to cast their votes into which location they would like it to be. So fingers crossed. Time will tell.
Thank you, Suzanne. The next one is the NAR committee. We've basically been working with the NAR committee, continuing to work with them, sharing resources, and working on policies. It's a pretty brief summary for that one. It's been pretty much same thing, different day. But sorry, NAR is a basically it's a fast track of sorts to be able to trying to think how to describe it. I'm part of the committee, and yet I have trouble remembering how to describe it well. Perhaps someone else can? Oh, sorry. Yeah, here we go. Brad, thank you. Brad mentions it's applicants who currently hold a certification like CIH endorsed by the National Accreditation Recognition Committee, or NAR committee, of the Iowa group are exempt from the ROH written exam, and they can just go straight to the oral examination part. So there's still a component to it. It's just that it's a little fast track. Thank you, Brad. Saved me again. As I said, wonderful committee. We also have Alex. We have Alex, did you want to talk about the ongoing initiatives?
Sure, I'm actually going to let Kiet say a few words about
perfect.
the CSA standard, because that is his baby, and then I can continue along with the remaining projects.
Perfect,
Kiet?
thank you. Kiet?
Yes. Hi everyone. So we've wrote we are three in the committee. We have René Leblanc and Norma McCormick and myself, and we wrote a standard, draft of a standard that we on the industrial hygiene management system that we proposed to the CSA committee. And from what we got was an unanimous support from their part. So we're very glad that it happened that way, and we'll see what it will go from now on. And just to tell you guys that this is well timed with the future of the profession initiative.
Thanks, Kit. So the remaining thing on this slide is our CRBOH project. This is in its infancy. It's a really exciting project. Long story short, it's focusing on hazard and control banding and using the framework of an existing e-tool that comes from the UK, which is the CRBOH Essentials e-tool, and the guidance documents, and updating them and North Americanizing them, if I could invent my own word, and hopefully making them bilingual. So a wish for our committee on this in the next upcoming couple of years is to help make these accessible to the francophones and thus more hygienists in Canada. Next slide, please. Matt, would you like to say a couple words about the MOU, and then I can pick up with the ASHSP and the ABCC?
Sure. So, yes, as it mentions here, we did sign a memorandum of understanding, or an MOU, with the BCRSP. We've been hammering on this for the last 5 years or more. Feels like more. But it finally has come into fruition, and I thank everyone who was able to help out with that to make this happen. I just happened to be fortunate enough to be the person to sign it, but I stand on the shoulders of giants for that. There'll be more information forthcoming about that. There'll be some information, as I said earlier, in our newsletter and on the website. So the next up will be Alex.
Back again. So two really exciting initiatives, and I'm sure many of you are curious as to what's going on in Alberta. We've been working with the ASHSP in their bid to gain professional regulation of the hygiene and safety professions. And it's a great initiative, and we've seen some real movement this year. Those of you who practice in Alberta are probably familiar with the bulletin that was just released by the Alberta government. Absolutely fantastic steps in the right direction. And that is hopefully as a result of some of this work that the ASHSP is doing. And our organization has been at the table to contribute to that conversation and provide our point of view as hygienists and as the board. And in a related topic, that is essentially what the ABCC acronym stands for, with the caveat that the C of the CSSC is no longer a C. It's now the HSPC, so the acronym isn't quite as nice, but essentially that is a larger conversation with more organizations. Again, same conversation topic, title, scope protection, what that means for each of the organizations, what that means for province of Alberta and other provinces, and eventually on a federal level, what that's going to look like. Again, the group conversation is extremely important to this. In my opinion, it's the most critical piece. We really want to ensure that we're capturing everyone's point of view. And the more people with opposing point of views we have at the table, the better product we're going to get. And this has been a great year for collaboration. And we've been invited to the table as hygienists for some of the first times for these conversations. And I was really excited to be a part of that, and I'm hoping to continue that in the next year or so. Next slide, please, Leah. Back to Kiet, Communications and Promotion Committee.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Kiet, and I'm the director of CRBOH. And well, for this year, we welcome a new editor, Tad, who just came in and did a tremendous job in his new role. And we continually publish 3 newsletters every year. For another work we've done is that we renamed the student award, the Mark Cosino Student Award. We also increased the engagement on LinkedIn page. And we have selected the 2024 recipients of Lifetime and Student Award. And we have quite a few for the Student Awards this year, which is quite interesting. Next slide, please. So just a reminder that we have our merchandise online. If anyone wants to purchase, please visit it. Thanks. Next slide, please. So as a recognition for our committee, for our past committee and this current committee, so as an editor, we have Ted Litourneau. For translators, we have David Bellil, Véronique Ménard, Megan Friesen, Laure-Élise Forel, Mathieu Duluth, Larry Vienno. For the members and contributors this year, we have Glenn Jones, Krista Thompson, Kimberly O'Connell, Rob Strand, Ted Litourneau, and Simon Aubin. They all did a very great job in order to provide the newsletter for you guys. And just a quick note on the people that participate in the past committee. We have the past editor Bill Sparks and Capucine Wallet, who will be leaving our committee, but did a great job for the past years. Thank you. Next slide. So I will let Suzanne continue the work, the presentation. Sorry.
Thanks, Kiet. For those of you who don't know me, I am one of the Ontario directors, and I'm also the board liaison for the examination committees. So as been mentioned before, we have been working towards that ISO alignment. So we have been updating the terms of reference for the examination committee and working on those procedures and the competencies and roles and responsibilities related to the examination committee. And exciting news, we offer that full written examination online using UTestMe software in both official languages. And we did have a special ROT exam session for the Canadian Armed Forces Health Services Training Center this year. Next slide. So the written examination was completely held online in October of 23 and of March 24th. Special thanks to Paul. He did an amazing job and huge test of patience during that transition. So I want to thank all of those that were involved in that transition period, including the candidates. There were some bumps in the road and some kinks that we had to work out, but I think all in all, the transition to the online system was a success. Next slide. So our chief oral examiners are Andrea, Lydia, and Guillaume. And I'm not sure if you know, but every oral exam panel includes one of the chief oral examiners or COEs, and then various other oral exam panel members, and special thanks to those listed on the right-hand side. And those are the cities in which the oral exams took place. Next slide. And Dave Gerald is our ROHT exam chair. And again, special thanks that he organized that special ROHT exam setting for the Canadian Armed Forces, and a special thanks to Lucy, who reviewed for the French translation of that exam. So wrapping up, just we can't thank the volunteers enough. I think it just goes without saying. And that being said, if you're interested in being a member of any one of those committees, please let the Secretariat know. And yeah, we can have you join those committees. Thank you.
And unfortunately, Roberto wasn't able to attend today, so I'll be presenting in his place. So if you have questions, we will get back to you on the answers, as I may not know right off. So the next up is the Registration Maintenance and Points Committee report. So this year, we have upped the number of points available for members. Basically, if you are a volunteer for CRBOH work, we're going to double the annual registration maintenance points with no cap in the points. So committee members will receive 2 points annually, and chairs in similar roles will receive 3 points annually. And the guide that we use for this will be updated to reflect that in 2025. Next slide. We also were able to finalize a terms of reference document for the committee so that there's a clear process now. So we have developed and are also in process of developing, finalizing a written process document. So there'll be a clear flow for how the process goes forth when it comes to our end, and when we expect what, and when there'll be a response. We're also planning a written procedural document for committee members, so everyone has the same expectations. So also keep in mind, registration points, maintenance, get your points in, keep recording them. Remember, AGM also counts for points. If your cycle end date is in 2024, you still have that 15% reduction in maintenance points due to the COVID pandemic. So ROHs only 42.5 points. ROHTs only require 34 points. So if you have a cycle end date of 2025 or later, it'll be back to the full maintenance points requirement of 50 for ROH and 40 for ROHT. So the online system is the only method to enter. So if you are going to try to use your Excel spreadsheets or Word documents, those will not be accepted. So online process is, the worksheets are the only way to do it, the online system. Keep in mind that on that system, you can enter in things as you go through the year, including your documentation should you be audited. So that information, it's good to be able to update that frequently. Next slide, please. So for maintenance points, we had in 2023, so at the end of 2023, 21 people were brought forward, 10 were not submitted, and we had 16 in review, so grand total 47. ROHTs, as we have less ROHTs in our membership, the numbers are smaller. So we had 4 complete, 2 that are in review, and 1 that was not submitted, for a grand total of 7. Next slide. Also, we want to thank the volunteers that do all this review work. Without that, we wouldn't have a designation. We need to be able to have an accountability. So thank you very much to our committee member volunteers for ROH and ROHT. You can see the names here. We appreciate, as it says, we appreciate all your hard work. It definitely goes to professional, speaks well for the profession. Next up, we have awards. So for the awards, we're going to be going over to Kiet.
Yes. Thank you. So next slide. Yes. So for the award, for the Marcosino Student Award, well, congratulations for Sheila Kaplan, who won this year's award. She's from University of British Columbia, and we got a lot of different files, so she stands out the most. Next slide, please. For the Andrea Sass-Korzak Lifetime Achievement Award this year, I'm very honored to present it to Liz. Sorry, Liz Krivonozov, and to introduce her, I would like to hand the micro to Sarah McCurdy, who nominated her as the recipient.
Thanks, Kat. You guys can hear me okay?
Barely. Might need to up your volume a little bit.
Okay, I will speak up here. So it's my honor to introduce Liz for the 2024 Lifetime Achievement Award. So Liz has had a tremendous career in occupational hygiene and risk management, and has recently just retired from her consulting business. You guys probably know the name Liz because she has probably spoke or emailed many of you, as she served as the registrar for 7 years on the CRBOH. So since I know Liz probably has a PowerPoint and some graphs ready for you, I'm going to keep this really short, but I just wanted to thank you for your passion towards the occupation and say congratulations and that you deserve the recognition. It's all you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll wait for Leah to get the slides up. There we go. Thanks so much. As I was preparing for my speech, I realized I had a few pictures of me actually in the workplace. Usually I'm behind the camera. All my photos involve ventilation systems, hazmat facilities, or beautiful landscapes of contaminated mine sites. So here I am in this photo in northern Saskatchewan at a Cameco underground uranium mine at Cigar Lake. I had to dig deep into my personal photo archives to try and illustrate my following remarks. Next, Leah. I was stunned when I was informed of this award. I'm extremely gratified to be nominated by people that I highly respect as hygienists, and to receive an award named after my teacher, my mentor, and my friend is such an honor. I'm happy that it wasn't awarded posthumously. Next, please. I'm not going to retell the highlights of my career. If you're interested, you can look me up on my LinkedIn profile. I'm still there. But as a background reference, after graduating from chemical engineering at the University of Toronto many moons ago, I worked almost 25 years in the public sector before I started my own consulting company, which ran for 15 years across Canada with staff across Canada. We worked in every province and in many, many different sectors. In addition to evaluating chemical agents, we worked in high containment biofacilities, ionizing radiation areas. We worked with non-ionizing devices, primarily with lasers. And as we provided a hygiene, but also an engineering perspective to the risk assessments and the work that we did. Over my 40-year career, I've seen many changes. I started in analog and I ended in the digital world. My very first office phone was one of those heavy desktop black rotary dialers that you now actually see in museums. My very first professional report was written on a typewriter with carbon paper backing for extra copies. I remember it very well. It involved a dead mouse, PCBs, the chemical, and was addressing worker health concerns. This was my very first glimpse into the world of occupational hygiene. What I want to share with you with the time that I have are a few insights that I have gathered over the years regarding how I approach my work. Next, Leah. In our profession, we do our best to eliminate or even mitigate risks. However, it's important to take on risks in extending our own personal horizons. From a very satisfying public service position, I took a chance to start my own consulting company. Had I not taken this risk to move outside of my comfort zone, I never would have been able to experience working with some fantastic people on really interesting projects, and I truly enjoyed the work. My words to you are be bold and explore. Next, Leah. Historically, hygienists have been involved with changing the perceptions about the nature and the extent of hazards and preventing exposures in the workplace and communities. And yet we are still struggling with public and some employers' lack of knowledge of what we actually do. When I told some people about my award, I still had to explain what a hygienist did. This is not news to many of you. In fact, Dr. Victoria Arundel touched upon this very same theme in her profile in the current CRBOH newsletter as well. But I do believe there is hope. During the pandemic, my firm was awarded several large contracts for risk assessment and protocol development because we have 5 accredited hygienists on staff. The clients recognize the role of hygienists as technical specialists and as credible sources of information for the protection of worker health. Yes, it takes a village to build a profession. During my career, I volunteered on 8 different professional organizations, including my own provincial hygiene association in Ontario here, OHAO, as well as CRBOH. I spent almost a decade pro bono teaching students at the University of Toronto several hygiene courses. So my words to you are try hard, volunteer to help your profession. And in case you're wondering, the photo there is me trying hard to keep up with my Canadian teammates at the World Masters Games at the Olympic paddling venue in Sydney, Australia. Next, Leah. Doing what is morally right can come across at the crossroads of business expediency or self-interest. It's tough. It's complex. There are many factors affecting decision-making, but it is about fairness. It goes beyond the CRBOH Code of Ethics of the workers you protect to the obligations to your fellow hygienists. We are all in this together as a profession. Do the right thing. In the long run, ethical shortcuts will not work. It'll be interesting to see what the next speaker will have to say in his ethics talk today. So my words to you are play by the rules. When one succeeds, we all succeed. Leah? We do not go through this life alone. I've had the tremendous opportunity to work with truly talented people. There are too many to mention in a short amount of time. But through their examples, it instilled in me a strong belief in paying it forward. Help your fellow colleagues, even if they're competition, mentor junior staff, and take up the baton for the hygiene profession. My words to you are help your friends. There's enough work for everyone. And in closing, next slide, please. Where I am, we're in the midst of a very severe heat wave. So in these photos that you see, you'll notice I have a very protective water feature I'm using to combat heat stress. Now, sun protection is being employed during more recent times. I will cherish this award as a reminder of my long career and the many friendships I've developed. My work was challenging and very fulfilling. There were long hours, endless meetings, politics, and too much administration. But what truly stands out when working with my colleagues and my friends was the fun we had together. There are many stories to tell. My words to you are have fun. Of course, after having done a complete risk assessment of anticipation, recognition, evaluation, control, and of course now confirmation. So I thank you, and I now return to my regularly scheduled retirement activities.
Thank you very much for all your work, and it's greatly appreciated and well deserved. Thank you very much. So, for other business, I have the honor of introducing our next president. I will introduce it. You've already had an opportunity to meet her, but this is your new president will be Alex Mercer. So she'll be, I'm not going to read all of her. Pardon? Oh, my apologies. So Alex, I am going to hand it over to you. Thank you very much, everyone, for all your wonderful assistance and getting everything done. And I leave you in very capable hands. It's over to you, Alex.
Thanks, Matt. And congratulations, Liz. Well deserved. And I have to say, just on a side note, your presentation slides put a smile on all of our faces. It was a bright spot earlier in the week. So thank you for that. And thank you for everything that you've done for the profession. It was a well-deserved award. And I'm absolutely so pleased to be coming in this year to be the president. I've been on the board since 2021, and it's been an amazing time. I can't say enough good things about my experience thus far. And I'm excited and honored to be coming into this role next year, and I can't wait to see what we get done this year. So if I could have the next slide, please, Leah. So in the theme of change, we have a new director coming in, a new ROH from Quebec, Stéphane Archambault. He's an ROH. I'm not going to read his lengthy bio, but Stéphane, welcome to the board. We're very excited to have you. And on a side note, I didn't get to meet you in person when we were at a conference in Columbus. So I look forward to meeting you in person when that happens. I assume at our face-to-face in October. So welcome, and we're happy to have you. Next slide, please. And we say goodbye to Lucy Marcotte. Lucy has been a part of the board for quite some time. She is a wonderful person, great hygienist. Personally, Lucy, I want to say thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you over the last few years, and I am truly sad to see you go. But it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for your hard work. And I know we'll stay in touch because I really like you. So we will stay in touch, and I'm excited to see what you do in your career. And thank you again. Next slide. So we have a question period now. Obviously, we've been answering questions throughout the presentation, but if anyone has any additional questions, please put them into the chat function. Any questions can also be emailed after the fact to our secretary at Leah, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. But you know, I'll leave it open. Brad, you do your thing in the chat. If anyone comes up with the questions, please put them along to the appropriate person. Otherwise, I believe we have a short break before we get into our speaker. But before that, may I ask please for a motion to adjourn our meeting? Thank you, Percy. Can I get a seconder, please? Thank you. Okay, motion passed. Thank you, everyone.